prevalence of hypothyroidism in general population varies between 0 to 3% and 3 to 7% in USA. Hypothyroidism occurs more frequently in women, in older people, and in white individuals. Hypothyroidism is more common in patients with autoimmune diseases such as type 1 diabetes, celiac diseases, and can also occur as a part of multiple endocrinopathies. Individuals with Down syndrome or Turner syndrome have an increased risk of hypothyroidism, and on the other hand, tobacco smoking and moderate alcohol intake are associated with reduced risk of hypothyroidism. Next, we'll talk about the etiology. The etiological factors are hypothyroidism can be classified as primary due to thyroid hormone deficiency, secondary due to TSH deficiency, tertiary due to thyrotrophin releasing hormone deficiency, peripheral, extrathyroidal or central hypothyroidism, which includes both secondary and tertiary. Next, we'll talk about the clinical features. In general, we see weight gain, fatigue, cold intolerance, hoarseness of voice, slurred speech, puffy face, and loss of eyebrows. Skin, dry, cold and pale skin. Dry, cold and pale skin, decreased sweating, non-pitting edema, that's mixed edema, coarse hair and hair loss. Hematological, that's anemia and macrocytosis. And about CVS, there is diastolic hypertension, bradycardia, reduced cardiac output, angina and pericardial effusion. RS, there is hypoventilation, sleep apnea, exertion dyspnea and pleural effusion. In GIT, enlargement of the tongue, constipation due to decreased gut motility, ileus and decreased taste sensation and ascites. Reproductive system, oligomenorrhea, amenorrhea or menorrhagia and decreased fertility, increased risk of abortion and decreased libido, erectile dysfunction and delayed ejaculation. Neuropsychiatric, in that we see encephalopathy, myxedema coma or myxedema madness, about which we will talk in more detail in the coming about which we will talk in more details. Next, mental retardation in children, that is cretinism, carpal tunnel syndrome. About cretinism also they will talk more next. Cerebellar ataxia, depression, about this too we'll talk more. Psychosis, about this too we'll talk more. Myotonia and delayed relaxation of terminal reflexes. Musculoskeletal, there is slow movement, myalgia, arthralgia, aches and stiffness. Metabolic, hyperuricemia and hyperlipidemia. Now, myxedema coma or myxedema madness. So, it is severe hypothyroidism leading to decreased mental status, hypothermia and other symptoms. It is a medical emergency with high mortality rate. So, older women are most often affected. Usual precipitating factors are infection, MI, cold exposure, sedative drugs, especially opiates. The hallmark of myxedema coma are decreased mental status and hypothermia. Most patients present with confusion and altered level of consciousness. There may be prominent psychotic features too, like myxedema madness. Other features are hypotension, bradycardia, hyponatremia, hypoglycemia and hypoventilation. There is evidence of the underlying precipitating factor. Management is, this is a medical emergency, so patients should be admitted to ICU. Treatment should be started without waiting for the lab reports. However, blood should be drawn for the measurement of T3, T4, TSH and cortisol to know the underlying cause. Thyroid hormone administration should be done. 300 microgram thyroxine is given intravenously over 5 to 10 minutes initially, followed by 100 microgram per day, until the patient becomes alert and able to take thyroxine orally. If no IV preparation is available, the same can be given through a Raynaud's tube. Supportive measures should be followed. Next, we will talk about depression. Some patients have reported have reported that some studies have reported that up to 10% of the patients with depression are having hypothyroidism as a comorbidity. So among all the patients of hypothyroidism, 10% of them have depression, or people with depression, 10% of them have a comorbid condition of hypothyroidism. That's what it means. Thyroid supplementation can convert an antidepressant resistant person into a responsive person. So it holds great role in treatment resistant depression as an adjuvant to antidepressants. No evidence exists till now that correlates with thyroid function and its efficacy in augmentation therapy. That is, irrespective of thyroid function, thyroxine supplementation can be used as an adjunct in treating depressed patients. However, the mechanism of action of thyroxine in treating depression is still not clear. Epidemiology is 17.3% pre-existing hypothyroidism without diagnosis and 13.3% in general population. So the manifestations are the manifestations of this is subsyndromal depressive symptoms only. Treatment resistant depression, like for whom they've come with depression but they have not been responding to treatment. So then atypical depression. Clinical features is typical presentation, mental lethargy and general dulling of personality. Cognitive deficits are more prominent. Typical mood changes towards apathy and irritability. Usually, family history of hypothyroidism is always positive. Next is, we'll talk about psychosis. Studies have shown that 5 to 15% of myxedematis patients show psychotic features. Psychosis usually emerges years after the onset of physical findings. So, clinical features include delusion, visual and auditory hallucinations, loosening of associations, and paranoia. So, onset is of 4 types: acute, subacute, fluctuating, and paranoid. Visual and other hallucinatory distortions are also present. Associated mental slowing and cognitive impairment will be seen, especially in recent memory. Rapidly developing myxedema, agitation, irritability, alternate periods of restlessness and lethargy, and hypersexuality psychosis is seen. Cognitive dysfunction. Next, I'll talk about cognitive dysfunction. Hypothyroidism can lead to impaired consciousness, memory disturbances, and psychomotor slowing. Most commonly affected are working memory and executive function. In the elderly, we see progressive dementia. These symptoms improve with thyroid supplementation. Chronic thyroid hormone deficiency. This is not always reversible and it causes permanent CNS damage. Mental retardation, that is cretinism, which is seen in neonates and in infants. So this is the one that we're going to talk, which I'm going to talk next. Neonatal hypothyroidism can result in mental retardation, popularly known as cretinism, which is preventable if diagnosis is made at birth itself as soon as possible. Seen in children who live in iodine deficient regions. So prevalence is very less, only 1 in 3,000 to 4,000 newborns. Often born to mothers with iodine deficiency. So it's very important for mothers to not have iodine deficiency in them. Clinical features, majority are normal at birth. In less than 10%, diagnosis is based on prolonged jaundice, feeding problems, enlarged tongue, delayed bone maturation, and umbilical hernia. Both mental retardation and growth retardation is seen. Permanent neurological damage is seen if treatment is delayed. If treatment starts early, it could be avoided. Diagnosis is based on the measurement of TSH and T4 levels. Early and adequate treatment is very important in this condition in order to maintain normal IQ levels. Iodine deficiency is one of the most common causes of preventable mental retardation. Next, I will talk about the diagnosis of hypothyroidism in general. So TSH levels will be raised, and T3 and T4 levels are reduced. Treatment is levothyroxine monotherapy is the most important formulation which is taken on an empty stomach, which is a treatment of choice. In women of childbearing age group, because of the physiological changes during pregnancy, an increase in levothyroxine dose is required to maintain euthyroidism. Therefore, women of childbearing age with levothyroxine treated hypothyroidism should be informed to increase their dosage by 30%. Levothyroxine leothyronine combination is also available. Next, I'll talk about hyperthyroidism. Hyperthyroidism is characterized by increased thyroid hormone synthesis and secretion from the thyroid gland, whereas thyrotoxicosis refers to clinical syndrome of excess circulating thyroid hormones, irrespective of the source. The most common cause of hyperthyroidism is Graves' disease, followed by toxic nodular goiter. Other important causes of thyrotoxicosis include thyroiditis, iodine-induced and drug-induced thyroid dysfunction, and factitious ingestion of excess thyroid hormones. Treatment options for Graves' disease include antithyroid drugs, radioactive iodine therapy, and surgery. Just beta blockers are used in symptomatic thyrotoxicosis and might be the only treatment needed for thyrotoxicosis not caused by excessive production and release of thyroid hormones, only for symptomatic cases. Hyperthyroidism is a pathological disorder in which excess thyroid hormone is synthesized and secreted by the thyroid gland. It is characterized by normal or high thyroid radioactive iodine uptake, that is thyrotoxicosis with hyperthyroidism or true hyperthyroidism. Thyrotoxicosis without hyperthyroidism is caused by extrathyroidal sources of thyroid hormone. Hyperthyroidism can be overt or subclinical. Overt hyperthyroidism is characterized by low serum TSH and raised serum concentrations of thyroid hormones. Subclinical hyperthyroidism is characterized by low serum TSH but normal serum T3 and T4 concentrations. Prevalence of hyperthyroidism is 0.8% in Europe and 1.3% in the USA. Hyperthyroidism increases with age and is more frequent in women. Prevalence of overt hyperthyroidism is 0.5 to 0.8% in Europe and 0.5% in the USA. Etiology. So, etiology is thyrotoxicosis with hyperthyroidism. So, the most common cause of hyperthyroidism in iodine sufficient area is Graves' disease. The cause of Graves' disease is thought to be multifactorial, arising from the loss of immunotolerance and development of autoantibodies that stimulate thyroid follicular cells by binding to TSH receptors. So, the most common cause of hyperthyroidism in iodine sufficient areas is Graves' disease. The cause of Graves' disease is thought to be multifactorial, arising from the loss of immunotolerance and development of autoantibodies that stimulate thyroid follicular cells by binding to TSH receptors. Several studies have provided some evidence of a genetic predisposition to Graves' disease. However, the concordance rate in monozygotic twins is only 17 to 35%, suggesting low penetrance. So, the genes involved in Graves' disease are immune regulatory genes and thyroid autoantigens such as the thyroglobulin and TSH receptor genes. Non-genetic risk factors include stress, smoking, female gender, toxic marginodular goiter, and solitary toxic adenoma. Although in iodine sufficient areas, about 80% of patients with hyperthyroidism have Graves' disease. Toxic multinodular goiter and toxic adenoma accounts for 50% of all cases of hyperthyroidism in iodine deficient areas and are more predominant in the elderly. thyroid nodules becomes autonomous and produce thyroid hormones independent of the signals from either TSH or TSH receptor antibodies. Less common causes include thyrotropin-induced thyrotoxicosis and thyroblastic tumors. Thyrotoxicosis without hyperthyroidism. In patients with silent thyroiditis, postpartum thyroiditis, subacute painful thyroiditis, the destruction of thyrocytes leads to release of preformed hormones into circulation. Drug-induced thyrotoxicosis can also occur. Exogenous thyrotoxicosis is factitious or iatrogenic, develops after ingestion of excessive amounts of thyroid hormone and is associated with low serum thyroglobulin concentrations. Ectopic hyperthyroidism is rare, including functional thyroid cancer metastasis and struma ovariae, an ovarian tumor that contains functioning thyroid tissues. Next is the clinical presentation. In that, the general clinical features will be weight loss despite normal or increased appetite, heat intolerance, fatigue, goiter with bruit, and in GIT we see diarrhea, hyperdefecation, anorexia and vomiting. Basically, it's all the reverse or opposite symptoms of what we see in hypothyroidism. CVS, we see systolic hypertension, palpitations, sinus tachycardia, atrial fibrillation, high output cardiac failure and angina. RS, we see exacerbation of asthma, dyspnea and exertion. Hematological, we see lymphadenopathy, normocytic normochromic anemia. And in the nervous system, we see tremors, muscle weakness, periodic paralysis, hyperreflexia, ill-sustained clonus, proximal myopathy and bulbar myopathy. In skin, we see increased sweating and pruritus, hair thinning, alopecia, palmar erythema, pretibial myxedema, onycholysis, hyperpigmentation and vitiligo. Genitourinary system, amenorrhea or oligomenorrhea, infertility, spontaneous abortion, loss of libido, impotence, gynecomastia, urinary frequency and nocturia. Eyes, stare and lid lag, gritty feeling and pain in the eyes, excessive lacrimation, diplopia, loss of acuity, exophthalmos, periorbital and gingival edema, corneal ulceration, ophthalmoplegia, papilledema. And in bone, we see osteoporosis, fracture and shortening of height. Psychiatric, anxiety, irritability and emotional liability. But the most important symptom is in hyperthyroidism is anxiety, and I will be talking about that next.